Welcome back to the Rent Roll Queen podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Reebok, the Real Estate Business Owners Conference. Imagine retiring at 50. Today, Nou Nou Kinnavong from REI Super joins us and talks about how superannuation can drive your retirement plan. Welcome to the show, Nou Nou.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. So at the moment, I'm working with REI Super. I look after both Queensland and WA. So I have the, fantastic job of going out and about in both states, looking after our members as well as meeting with new real estate industry leaders and helping them to just understand more about super and what they can do to make sure that they set themselves up for a really strong future.
Yes, you do. And we're going to be missing your smiling face very soon because you are going into retirement. And can I say your age?
Yes.
50.
Turning
you are
50.
going into retirement, or 49 then. How exciting for you to be going through this new part of your life.
Yeah. We're super, super excited. Just it's amazing what you can do when you set yourselves up right. So,
well, you set yourself up for success, not for failure, and
Absolutely.
look at what you've been able to reap the benefits of it. So
we'll be soon.
I'm so excited for you. I really genuinely am so excited for
Thanks,
you.
Tarsi.
Wow, just absolutely amazing. But today we are talking superannuation.
Yeah.
Because you've been able to do this because you've set yourself up financially to be able to retire.
Yeah.
A lot of business owners don't actually put money aside into their superannuation, and they're not mainly using it as maybe as their number one sort of plan for retirement.
So what I'm seeing, a lot of business owners typically look at their businesses as their retirement asset. So they put their heart and soul, blood, sweat and tears into their business, growing that. And for some, that's been a really great asset for them to grow. But unfortunately for others, that hasn't worked out as what they had expected. I actually had a member who late last year, called me and said, Nou Nou, I need help. I own this real estate agency for the last 30 plus years, been working on it, but unfortunately have made some really bad decisions and the bank's repossessed everything. I need help. I know that I've got a small amount in super with you guys, with REI Super, but I need help to get access to that. I'm out. I'm tapping out.
Yep.
So unfortunately, whilst we can put our blood, sweat and tears into our business and we know when things are going well, it's great.
Yes.
But other times having something like superannuation that is an asset that's in trust for you, it's a great backup plan if not your number one plan.
If something goes wrong, at least you've got that to fall back on.
Absolutely. And within super, there's this protection mechanism that is called the insurance side. So typically most superannuation fund has two insurance cover, life cover and TPD.
Right.
So if you're diagnosed with terminal illness or if you pass away, then the death cover will pay out as a lump sum. Otherwise, if you're TPD'd, which is total and permanent disablement, that will then pay out as a lump sum. So that gives you and your family time to recover, do rehab, modify the home, depending on the level of cover that you've got.
Yeah.
It might provide you with that backup plan to ensure that the family continue to tick along.
With REI Super, is that just part of it, the insurance part, or do they have to tick another box to get that?
So with us, if you're working in real estate, then automatically we provide 4 units of cover.
Right.
You can actually apply to increase that up to a maximum of 20 units.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 20 units is like the highest.
It's the highest.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's
and the units
exciting.
of cover, in terms of the actual dollar amount that's provided to you, will differ depending on your age. So we provide an insurance calculator, an insurance guide that can help you understand for your age what that unit of cover translate to in terms of dollar amount.
Yeah, right. So with your retirement plan, has it been like you've poured a lot into super as well as other assets to be here?
So for us, my husband and I, we had originally planned to retire over the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And we worked on making sure that we had assets outside of super, because with superannuation you can only access that when you're 60.
That
if
was
you're
gonna be
fully
my next
retired,
question.
you can access that. Otherwise, for most people, if you're still working, then age 65 is when you can access your super as a lump sum or as an income stream.
Yeah.
So because both hubby and I, he's 55 this year, we had always planned for an early retirement, so before age 60. So that meant we had to set aside and build our assets outside of super.
Yes.
But at the same time, we knew that we're building out assets outside of super to last us until he's at least 60, then he can access his super.
Yeah.
I've got another 10 years before
Yeah.
I can access my super. So I pretty much salary sacrificed the last couple of years of salary, pretty much the max that I could, into super to build up my super balance. The other thing for me was I took 2 years off work. So when I had my girls, I was off work, which meant while I was off work,
Yes.
Unfortunately for us at our age, superannuation isn't paid on maternity leave at that time. It's coming in.
Yep.
So any, young women being pregnant or about to have families, they're lucky.
Yeah, I didn't get that either, so I missed out on that too.
So we missed out. So what that meant was I needed to catch up and make sure that my super balance was going to be as strong as it could possibly be, and working within the government limits that allows us to contribute. So just so you've got an idea, while you're working, if you're an employee, the employer will contribute 11.5% of your total salary into super for you.
It's
so they
going
have
up
to,
again, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's this year. Next year will go up to 12%, which is the maximum at this stage. With the employer making that contributions, you then have the ability to make extra contribution as well. But it's up to $30,000 for this financial year that you can do. For some of us, if you weren't working, you then have that limit that's called an unused limit that you can then catch up on.
Yeah,
so
that goes back for 5 years or something, doesn't it?
That's right. So that's what I did. Was the last couple of years I've basically concentrated on contributing extra above that 30,000 into super to use up my unused component. And we were lucky financially. Hubby has a good job, earns a decent income that allows us to be able to do that. So not every family might be in that situation.
Yeah, well, it is assessing your financial position and then moving forward. But you got to plan. Planning is the key to success, right?
Absolutely.
So, and if you're not planning, but it's planning every part of your life. And, like you said, a lot of us, and I'm a business owner myself, and, I focus a lot on my actual business itself, but I now plan with my accountant and so forth. Like I'm sitting down and really planning how my life is going to look, because I would love to be retiring at 50. That would be incredible.
And you can make it happen. Like, honestly, for a lot of people, it is the big part is taking stock of where you're at and planning and just learning and getting educated. So there's lots of resources available to help. For everybody who's working, they've got a superannuation fund. Typically, most people are in an industry super fund. And with industry super fund, they usually provide financial planning team, whether it's in-house or they outsource that, but it's an available resource. So with us, REI Super members are lucky. We've got in-house financial planning teams, and if it's superannuation-related advice that our member requires, it's free of charge. So I always encourage all our members to at least take up the free advice. That helps you to get a good understanding of super, how it works, what you can do, tips and tricks just to help you set yourself up financially. And then if you need the comprehensive advice, so any advice that, looks at, say, whether you should pay off your mortgage or put extra into the mortgage versus paying or contributing more into super, or depending on your life stage and where you're at, if they're looking at retirement planning and they want to incorporate whether they can get access to the government age pension as well as, the super pension and how that works together, you can get comprehensive advice. And with REI Super, comprehensive advice is a fee for service basically. So our members will talk to our financial planner, they'll quote them a fixed price.
Yeah.
And so they have the certainty of knowing what that price is and what sort of advice that might be relevant to them at that point in time.
Well, what's great is that you do provide that service so that we can tap in and actually get free. Well, it's part of your service, right? So,
Absolutely.
and it's free. Why would you not use
Correct.
what you can actually tap into? And that's just with everything, isn't it? When you've got something that you can tap into it so that it can help you move forward.
It's funny, like whilst I promote that, and I know my work colleagues in the other states do the same thing, we encourage all our members to utilise the service. Not everybody step up to do that. So it's something that I find strange that people don't utilise the resources that's available.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink from it. So it's unfortunate, but some of them might just forget that it's actually there. That's the other thing. Our industry's so time poor. It's like, I'll just do that later. And then later all of a sudden comes and you're like, oh my God, I didn't do what I should have done. And for someone like me, I've had major setbacks. I've been divorced and that was a major setback. I had a business partnership that went sour. That was another setback. So for me, it's like those setbacks have actually pushed back my retirement plan.
Yeah.
So it's little things like that where now I need to tap into REI Super's financial planners and start really taking it to the next level.
Absolutely. And the sooner you take action, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's part of that forward planning.
Yes.
If you can take time, and it doesn't need to be a long time. So with our financial planners, it's an hour and a half meeting to start with.
Yeah.
And you think, oh my God, that's a lot of hours.
No, it's
but
not.
it's not.
No,
it's not. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. You can take time out. Instead of having your lunch break, utilise that lunch break, extend it and tap into the financial planning team and get them to utilise their expertise. Like all of us are great at doing what we do, but we're not an expert in other areas. So utilise the experts who do that job on a day in, day out basis. They know all the rules, they know all the regulations.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert as a financial planner. I'm not qualified to give financial planning advice. I can only give general advice.
Yeah.
And so and that's what I tell people when I meet them. I can only give you general advice, but if you want personal advice, or in fact, you know, you really should take personal advice and make sure that the strategy, the information is really relevant to you and that will help you set yourself up for a really good future.
It's basically like professional development. If you start really looking at it that way, it's like an hour and a half of professional development. You're working on yourself, you're working on your future, you're working on your financial future. So really tap into it. One other thing that we had spoken about, and I really want to touch on this today, is the beneficiaries part of superannuation, because we were talking recently and, oh my goodness, the story that you told me, and I would love for you to share it on this podcast, was insane. And I literally went back because I thought I had already done it on my super. Yeah. And I literally went back and realized that I hadn't submitted the form. I'd filled it out but never submitted. So I just did it straight away and sent it off.
Well done. So when I go out to offices, real estate agency, I provide workplace education, and I encourage people to, you know, talk about what they've seen, what they've experienced. And in this particular incident, a property manager had told me that one of her tenants, 24 years old, passed away, and he had only recently, 3 weeks into a relationship, moved in with his girlfriend. When he passed away, his girlfriend put in the claims form. His parents put in a claim form, but because the girlfriend was classified as a de facto spouse, his benefits were paid out to her.
Yeah, right.
So, you know.
And he had a family, didn't he, or something?
He had a family, so a young son.
Yeah.
But wasn't with her because she's the new girlfriend.
Yeah, so he couldn't even give that to his son or anything like that because he didn't have that beneficiary documentation filled out.
And because she was classified as the spouse, it was paid out to her.
Yeah, she won it.
Yeah.
Which is so sad, isn't it? Because that really should have gone to,
it should have gone to
that's
his son.
How we feel about it, because I want mine to definitely go to my children. I've worked this hard.
Yeah.
And
for most parents, we want, you know, to provide for our family.
Yeah, we do.
Right? So that we work hard, we do all the things, we sacrifice our time, etc., to build our businesses, to work and provide for family. And we want to make sure that they're set up.
Yes, definitely.
Financially.
So one thing that I wanted to touch on was with business owners, and we kind of said it just before, business owners rely on the sale of their rent roll, let's say, to fund their retirement.
Yeah.
But realistically, there's a tax implication to doing that. So can we run
Absolutely.
through the tax
Yeah.
efficiencies?
So superannuation is realistically a tax structure, so tax effective. So when you're contributing money into super, on the way in, it's taxed at 15%. Whilst the money is inside super in the accumulation phase, so while we're still working, the earnings within super is taxed at 15%. So in comparison, when you're working on your business, any earnings that your business make is dependent on that business structure.
Yes.
So if you've got a company, the company tax rate is what, 30% or
Yeah,
25%,
depending
on your size. So that's still, even if it's 25%, that's still 10% more than super, right? The beauty with super is that once you hit into the pension phase, when you retire, it's now tax-free.
Yes.
So all of that income, so at the moment, legislation allow us to have up to 1.9 million per person in the pension phase that you can draw out as tax-free lump sum or as a pension.
Yeah,
so it's
but
fantastic.
When you sell your business,
When
you've
you
got
sell
to
your
pay
business,
capital gains
you've got to pay
tax.
the capital gains tax.
Yeah.
And then depending on what you do with that money, if you then invested in, say, a term deposit, the earnings with that is still taxed at your marginal tax rate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So whereas with super, once you retire, you roll your super into the pension mode. And this is why I was saying to you that I was salary sacrificing the bulk of my salary into super to really build that up so that when we do hit the preservation age of age 60 and I can access my super, that's now all tax-free.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah.
It's really, it's such a, a strong proposition as to why you need to consider super, not just as your backup plan, but as a key plan to your retirement.
Yeah, it's just part of the whole structure and picture of what you're going to do for retirement. That's absolutely incredible. So what about finding lost super? Because a lot of people have had a lot of jobs.
Yeah. So for a lot of people who traditionally change job, they start up a new job, they get provided with a whole bulk of forms to fill out. And typically in the past, one of those forms is a superannuation account form. They're setting up a new account. I had a member recently say that they had 7 superannuation accounts. The problem with having 7 accounts is that each superannuation account has an admin fee. They might have built-in insurance, which means the premium's being taken out of your super balance. So when you've got multiple accounts, the super balance getting eaten away by fees. From our perspective, we see it more efficient if you actually consolidate it all into the one. And if you were to pass away or something happened, then your family only has to have, one super account.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other thing, for some people, when they change jobs, they don't update their previous superannuation fund and they then become lost super. So the ATO then looks after that for you. So at the moment, I think there's about 16 billion in lost super.
Everyone jump online and go and look for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll have super funds that ATO is looking after for you. It might not be invested in the right investment category,
that's the other
and
problem.
Therefore not earning great returns.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that you look at that and consolidate where you can. Make sure that it's actually earning, great returns for you.
So realistically, it's all about looking at investment options too, because what you're speaking about is when you consolidate them or even when you've got your super, you need to be looking at the different investment funds that that superannuation fund has.
Yeah, so just to give you an example, with REI Super, we've got 10 different investment options. When you first join, if you don't elect any particular investment option, you get put into a default fund, which is our balance option. And the balance option has been returning quite well.
Yep.
For us this year, it was 9.34%.
Yep.
So that's not bad. However, there are better performing asset classes out there. So I would encourage everybody to actually look at their investment options and make sure that you've got an option that's going to perform for you for the long term.
Yeah, a lot of people don't go back and have a look at their super. It's literally a set and forget kind of structure. So again, it's all part of your planning. Planning is the key to success, and maybe it's a good idea to,
Absolutely.
every 12 months or whatever, just to have a look
on a
and
regular
reach
basis,
out. Yeah.
particularly when there's changes in your circumstances.
Yeah.
So like you were saying before, where you got divorced and then you got remarried, these circumstances are the best time to actually review and take stock of where you're at financially and make sure you update all the relevant institution, superannuation fund, all of that, of all your key changes.
Oh, don't worry. I'm definitely going back to a financial planner. Like, I haven't seen a financial planner since I left my ex-husband. So it's like one of those things. It's like, oh no, after this conversation, I am getting back on track with that as well.
I'll keep you posted. I'll make sure that you're on top of it all.
I know you're going to kick my butt, so it's fine. It's fine. I'll allow you to do that. That would be awesome. And that's the thing too. Every person is part of your team, and this is something that I've definitely learned for myself. Everyone is part of my team, whether it's my accountant, financial planner, a solicitor, and so forth. I call them my growth team.
Absolutely, and everybody needs that.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you're a business owner or just an employee, you need a team around you that will help you, that you can just pick on for their expertise.
Yes.
Because you're not an expert in everything, so
and trying to learn it, it's not even worth it. Like,
no,
seriously,
it's not.
Just outsource it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Nunu, congratulations. I am beyond excited for your retirement.
Thank you.
And what I will do is, for anyone listening, first and foremost, I just want to highly recommend that you tap into the financial advice of REI Super and also check the beneficiaries. That's really important. And then I will put all of REI's details into the caption and people can reach out to them directly.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on.